Alright, what we're going to do now is the Boolean for the sink. If you look at the picture, it's kind of hard to see, but obviously underneath this faucet is a cavity for a sink, or a hole for a sink. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to use this as my example here that I'm going to cut the hole out. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to use the sink. If you look at these edges on the corners are rounded, so they're chamfered. They're rounded. They're not angular corners. So I'm assuming that's what this is. The sink is as well. There aren't 90-degree angles on the edges or the corners. So what I'm going to do is start with an extended primitive of a chamfered box like I've done in the past, and I'm just going to drag out a big shape here, and I'm going to drag the corners like that. So now I'm going to right click to get out of making that shape, and I'm simply going to put the shape where it looks like it should go. So if I'm using this picture as reference, I'm going to find where this sink is, and to me it looks as if it is in line with this second seat here, and the seat is kind of the width of a person. So if I were looking at it from this angle and I had the chairs here, one stool here, I would put it right here. So I'm going to move it this way, and I'm going to make the shape a little bit smaller with the scale tool. So now I'm going to get the right depth. That looks about the right depth for a sink. So what I'm going to do is cut that shape that I just put right here. I'll change the color so it's easier to see. I'm going to cut that right out of this box here. So the most important thing to do is remember that this is called a Boolean. Some people call it Boolean. You have to click the object that the hole is going to be cut out of. So the hole is going to be cut out of this cabinet. So I select the cabinet first. I go to the Create tab right here. I change Extended Primitives to Compound Objects, and then I simply click on ProBoolean. I'm going to scroll all the way down to Advanced Options. I'm going to click No Edge Removal. Sometimes, if you look at the edges here, I have one here, one here, one here, one here. If you Boolean a shape out of another object, sometimes it will just, for whatever reason, get rid of edges, and then your object will look completely different than you intended. So it's important to go to Advanced Options and check No Edge Removal. Make sure that the section right here says Subtraction, and I'm just going to click Start Picking and click that out. So now I have a sink. If I go to the Modify tab up here, you will see that it is no longer an editable poly, so I can't do anything to it in terms of adding materials, adjusting materials, so I have to convert it back to an editable poly lastly. And then I can go back in, and more than likely, if you cut this out, you're probably going to have to adjust or unwrap your materials, so keep that in mind. Other than that, that is a ProBoolean.